You're listening to the Shoot Your Shot podcast. I'm Megan.
And I'm Jen, and we are two boss babes sharing our journey and inspiring you along the way.
And today we're joined with Christina, who is a new small business owner. Introduce yourself. What do you do? Who are you?
I'm Christina. I'm the owner of Wild Lily Event Planning. I am a wedding and event planning business based in Connecticut, but I kind of go all over. Connecticut, New York, Rhode Island, anywhere that you're getting married and you're in love, I'm there.
Nice. And you have a lot of experience too, so this is very exciting to launch your own thing.
Yeah, I did. I have about 5 years in the industry, working with some incredible planners and, doing some independent contracting. And then I was like, what am I doing? I want my own business. So I was like, it's about time. So yeah, took the leap, and it has been like, only almost a month, and it has been like an incredible ride already. I've gotten to meet so many people already. I mean, it's a huge industry, so meeting all these incredible people has been like the best part so far.
Yeah. What did you do prior to this?
I very similar to Megan, didn't go to college. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so right out of high school, I said I'm gonna take a year off, see what I want to do. Got a job in retail and did that for about 7 years. Studied wedding and event planning. Got my certificate, sat on it, did nothing with it. And I was like, gotta make money. So I just did that. And then, again, was stuck in a job, hated. And I was like, what am I doing with my life? So it was right after COVID. I feel like we all had time to think during that time. So I was like, let me just spit my resume out everywhere. So I did. And thankfully, a planner in New York City was like, do you want to come be my apprentice? And I was like, absolutely. And I'm still with her today as her assistant planner and lead coordinator. And I absolutely love her. Shout out Laura. She's listening, probably not. But yeah, and then it all just spiraled after that. One thing led to another, and then here we are.
Cool.
Yeah.
What was the certificate like? Can you explain that a little bit?
It was fun. It was just all online. I was very didn't really love high school.
Now, so just so I know, this is a certificate to become an event planner on your own.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, just to get your certificate in wedding and event planning. So they did teach you towards the end, our final project was to plan a wedding and have our own website and have our own business. It really did. Yeah. It gave you business skills, but then it also gave you all the basics of how much space between tables, how to set a table, how to do this, kind of just hospitality and just event stuff, insurance, all that good stuff.
How long was the course? How long did it take you?
It took me about a year.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, you had quizzes, final project, it was a normal thing. I was it was very anti-high school, and I was there's no way I'm doing another 4 years of school after that.
I hear that.
So I was you know what? I was I'll do it. And then I was still really young at the time. And then I was I didn't really do anything with it. I was I'm just going to keep working. It expired by the time I did anything with it. But yeah, it was fun. It definitely I still remember a lot of the stuff, and it's just the basics, get you ready. And it was fun. It was very low key. I got to work and do that at the same time. And, it gave you a glimpse into the world. And I was do I really, want to do this and stuff? And then after I was I do. I was I enjoy it. Yeah.
Is that a requirement by a lot of venues?
No, a lot of venues, if you want to work for as their in-house venue coordinator or whatever, a lot of the time they require a bachelor's in hospitality and stuff. Not really an event planning certification. I feel that's just more of I also wanted to do it because I wanted to learn more about the industry and again, the behind the scenes of what really goes into it. But a lot of the time it's hospitality and those type of degrees that people look for. But I only had a few people ask me about that. When I spit my resume out, they were oh, do you have a bachelor's in this? And I was no. Other people are just look, we're just making it up as we go too. It's fine. Yeah. So
it's funny. So I got a certificate for bartending years and years and years and years ago. And then I did the course again when I started this business.
Yeah.
And I've never had anyone ask. It's technically not a requirement in Connecticut, but it's just good to have. And it's, I have it on my website that my bartenders are TIPS certified. And I actually had the first venue ask me for my certificate. And I'm like, I don't know where the heck this is.
Oh,
like,
really?
What?
Interesting.
And then I started asking other mobile bars, like, do you guys have this? Like, do you know where it is? Is it like handy? You can search it online. There's like a number for your name. But then I found out it's actually not a requirement that you have to have it. So I thought that was really interesting. But yeah, it's interesting to know that. I feel like it does help with just like background knowledge. Like for me, a lot of the questions were like, how can you tell if someone's intoxicated? Like things that you probably wouldn't know if you didn't like take a course like that. So
yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah, and I definitely learned a lot. And like I said, I still remember some of the things, half of it I don't remember, but like most of it I remember, and I do still apply it to today.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was the thing. So that's interesting to hear about.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Fun facts.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
Well, today is a Q&A episode, so we put out some polls on both of our Instagram accounts for any questions about business, about ourselves, about our own businesses, photography, mobile bartending, and then just, run-of-the-mill business questions about marketing and legal stuff. And you might be able to answer some of those better than we can because it's a little fresher for you, right?
Yeah.
So... between the three of us, we're going to try to answer all of your questions. And Christina, you have the list. So get us started. Wherever you want to start. I don't know if I remember all of them. I tried to refresh my mind on some of them. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I don't know any of them. I'm like kind of nervous.
I haven't even seen the ones that you added. So this should be interesting.
Okay.
There's some good questions here. All right, let's do...
Yeah, so thank you everybody for, responding to our poll because all of these are from you guys. So that's great.
Yes.
I'm actually going to start with one of my own because it
yeah.
kind of stems off of what we kind of were just chatting about. So what was I call it the spark. What was your like initial spark of like, that's it, I'm starting my business? Was it like an experience you had that like, I say what was the fuel? So like, did someone like anger you and you were like, ooh, yeah, I'm doing it. Like I'm all fired up. Or were you just like, I'm going to try it. Like, what was your spark?
Let me go first.
Yeah.
Okay. So as most know, I was in corporate for 13 years and I loved my job. Like I was so lucky that I enjoyed what I did. And then the pandemic hit. Mm-hmm. And when that happened, I was on maternity leave with my daughter and I was furloughed from my job in hospitality. And I did corporate event planning. So I had no clue if that was ever even going to come back. But I never considered myself an entrepreneur. Let me rephrase that. I had like a string business. I think we talked about this where I used to make like those bracelets, like the Chinese staircase
I didn't know
and all
that.
that. Yeah. Oh yeah. And GIMP. Wasn't that a thing? Like the GIMP, like maybe you're too young for this.
Yeah, I'm not sure
I'm
what that
aging
is.
myself. Oh my God.
I think I know what you're talking.
You would do this like box thing and you would make like keychains with it. Mm-hmm. Anyway, we would sell those, like me and my girlfriend.
Aww.
When I was really young. So I guess I have it in my blood, but I never I considered myself climbing the corporate ladder. Like that was always what I thought. So the pandemic hit and I was like, what do I do now? Like I am home with 2 kids. First of all, I am not cut out to be a full stay-at-home mom. I will literally go insane. The pandemic was really a testament to that. And I said, I need to find something else. Like, what else can I do? So we had a mobile food truck at our wedding, and they did alcohol-infused desserts. So I kind of saw, like, this, cool. like, fun thing. Yeah. It was, like, the talk of the wedding. It was awesome. So I was like, So I went on a rabbit hole on Pinterest, found mobile bars, and just like went from there. But I also thought this was going to be a hobby at first because I had no clue. Again, I did not think of myself as an entrepreneur. But I knew that I had to do something because I needed to make money. So very long story short, this ended up being amazing. I went back to the Hyatt for a little bit and realized that I needed to do this full time. So it was kind of like, I just had this like gut feeling. And I feel like I started listening to podcasts. I started through the pandemic and I started like finding ways to inspire myself that I can do this. I also started consulting for a skincare company and learned very quickly that I can be an entrepreneur and I can do something like this on my own. And I was able to see myself grow this, network marketing business to, I was like one of the top 3% in the company. And I was like, if I can do this, like I can do my own thing. So I still do the consulting a little bit here and there, but I really put my all into this business and it took off and it's crazy. So I feel like if you have that gut feeling, you have to run with it because nobody's going to hold your hand. Nobody's going to do it for you. You just have to like really dive in and really go for it.
Yeah.
So I kind of had my back against the wall in a way, but I feel like it really pushed me to do what I wanted to do in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was kind of similar, like more of a gut feeling, not so much like something happened and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna roll with this. It was more of like something I'd been thinking about and was like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. You know, it wasn't like I had an aha moment or anything like that. I was working full time at a retirement home and loved it. I grew up with my grandparents. We all lived together, so I was very used to that kind of setting, which is probably why I ended up there, and probably will, you know, do that again one day. But after a year of doing that, I just didn't feel like I was being creative doing anything during COVID. It was during COVID also, so like 2020, 2021 was just kind of like every day was the same, and I don't know, just wasn't creative. And I was like, I need to pick up a hobby for sure. And I used to do photography in high school a lot, so I was like, oh, maybe I'll do that again. And I remember being on break, like scrolling through Instagram and just like looking at photographers and being like, oh wow, I love their work. Just like scrolling through, like bored, and realized that day, I remember I was just like, oh, all of the people that I'm starting to follow are all like women my age, like 20s, 30s, just like traveling the world and doing their thing and, you know, photographing people in love. And I was like, oh, that would be so cool. Why don't I do that? I kind of want to do that. And I don't know, just, you know, made a decision, was like, I want to try to do that. And so figured out how I wanted to do that, made a business plan, was doing free sessions, lots of dogs, lots of families at first. And then ended up here, quit my job, and that's about it.
Here we
love
are.
it.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
No big moment where I was like, this is my thing. But I was kind of like, I kind of want to do that. Let's see.
I think my big moment
know.
was when I told my husband I was buying a horse trailer, and he's like, "You're doing what?" And
Yeah.
I'm like, that was like the point where it's like, okay, this is really happening.
Yeah.
This is like gonna be a business.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like the pandemic, like everyone kind of stopped and reevaluated themselves and
Yeah.
was like, where am I?
Yeah.
What am I doing? Where am I going? Type
Yeah.
thing. And like, I feel like even though it was like, you know, not a great time, a lot of like positive things did come out of it. I know that for a
Yeah.
lot of people.
I feel like
yeah.
I slowed down a lot during the pandemic because I
Me
was like,
too, yeah.
I mean, I'm still always on the go. Let me not. I'm still crazy. But I feel like I learned that like you have to slow down a little bit in order to like survive. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think about that a lot, that
Yeah.
like if the pandemic hadn't happened, I wouldn't have been working there, and if I wasn't working there, I wouldn't have had that feeling, and if I didn't have that feeling, I wouldn't be here. Like,
Yeah.
I
It
think
all
about
just
that a lot.
spirals. Like I
Yeah.
said, it's literally like,
Yeah.
I'm so big on like the decision and choice that you make, like literally sets the course for like everything. Like
Yeah.
I always say, like I met my boyfriend on a dating app, and I said, if I did not do that the day, like I don't know if I would be here where I am now in my career where I am, like, you know.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like it's so funny how like those little decisions are just like,
Yep.
you know.
Yeah. I think about that all the time.
Oh boy. All right, let's see. Let's start with a fun one. What's your favorite work snack while you're working?
Ooh, chocolate and peanut butter.
I saw that on your Instagram the other day. I was like,
it.
that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I put chocolate bars and peanut butter in the fridge, and I'll just like
Love it.
I'm
Love it.
dying.
So good.
I did see that on your Instagram. Honestly, mine is coffee. Like, I'm not even gonna be.
Oh no.
You just
Yeah,
Coffee.
it's so bad, so bad. I'm not a big snacker either, though. Like,
Really?
yeah.
I'm a big snacker.
Me too.
No.
Yeah. I'm a big snacker.
I do like I'm like a big beef jerky person, which is so funny. And Costco has these like sticks, so those are probably gonna be my go-to.
What's
I wish
yours?
I had one in my car.
Mine's always the same. Like after an event, when you're home at like 1:00 in the morning,
Uh-huh.
it's a bag of pretzels and a jar of Nutella, and I just
And that's
dip.
very similar
Yeah.
to mine.
I just sit. My boyfriend always has it ready when I get home, and I just sit
Oh
and
my
I
God,
eat.
that's
Some
funny.
you might like this. Sometimes I'll put together like a s'more bowl. So I'll like
Ooh.
take graham crackers and like smash them up and like melt peanut butter and marshmallows in the microwave and then throw like chocolate chips in it and just with a spoon.
Oh my god,
Just
what
like-
is that? So
S'mores with a spoon.
I'm totally making that.
When I'm like really hungry and I like don't know what I want for lunch, but I also kind of want to just like snack.
Oh my god,
That's what I
she has
do.
a s'mores bowl.
S'mores
I'm
bowl. I love
dying.
peanut butter.
I love that.
Good
dying.
protein.
That's fun. Okay,
Makes you full.
now we'll do more serious. That was a fun one. Ooh, how do I educate people about my business without sounding condescending?
I think, that's tough. I don't, oh gosh. I think just trying to be as polite and honest as you can be. One tip that I had that my sister gave me actually in high school when you'd be like writing essays and stuff. One tip that she had was if you were trying to explain what you're trying to explain in your essay to an alien, to somebody who knows absolutely nothing about our world and the universe, how would you explain it to them in a way that doesn't make them upset? So like, I kind of take that into account with my business. So when I'm on Instagram and just, marketing and telling people about what I'm doing, like how I want to express that like a first touch is a good idea. But if some people think that a first touch is stupid, how do you convince them that it's not stupid without making them feel like upset that you're like singling them out or something? So I try to explain those thoughts as if I were speaking to somebody that didn't know anything about what I was talking about, like didn't have any prior knowledge on it, and did it in like a nice, humble, polite kind of way. I don't know if that makes sense. But.
I think it's just like being so educated on your business, and it kind of is going to come almost like naturally when you explain it. For me, I think my pricing is what I have to educate people the most on. So I think it's just being so, have so much knowledge in your business that it just comes naturally when you're explaining it to someone. For me personally with mine, I think I have to educate them on my prices a lot, because in the beginning I got aren't you just a table with linen and why can you charge what you can charge? So I had to explain to them why I can charge what I can charge because of all the logistics that go behind it. So I think it's just really educating the customer or just people in general on social media, because I think that's the thing that people forget to do. I think people almost assume as a photographer, they know what you do kind of thing. As a mobile bar, like I'm a bartender, but I don't think they understand everything else that goes into your business. And I think you really have to just explain it to people.
Yeah.
People don't understand that I'm making all my fresh juices. I'm creating, such an experience, but they just think I show up and I bartend. They don't understand. I actually had to explain to a customer recently. She was looking for a discount. It was a nonprofit, and, I really want to be a part of it. It's a great, great cause and everything. But I had to explain to her, she was like, well, what if we get this donated and this donated and this donated? And I'm like, but I still have to go to the grocery store, and I still have to do all these different things that account for my time being away from my family and being away from things that I'm, want to do in my personal life. So I think people don't understand that in the full. So I think it's just being like really, really like hone in on what you do, and it's just going to come naturally almost.
Yeah. People are only going to see, they're only going to know about your business with what they see. So you have to educate them on the parts that they don't see. Going to the grocery store, doing all of the stuff at home. I know you like dry fruits and stuff in your oven like all night long. So stuff like that is, they're not paying you for that time because you're booked from hour to hour, but your prices need to accommodate for those times that you're not booked. So it's the same with me with my editing. Like I don't charge them by the hour for my editing. I have my prices, my hourly rate for when I'm shooting to accommodate for my editing time. So I don't know. It's educating people in like a nice, polite kind of way, being like, there's a lot that you don't see behind the scenes. Like I understand that maybe you're, I don't know how to, probably telling them that they're confused would be a little condescending. So it's trying to pick the right words in making yourself sound polite. And I think, just that essay writing tip that was like, if
I love that.
If they didn't know anything, like how would you explain it? Like if you were writing a book to somebody who didn't know anything, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I like that. And I like what Jen was saying is like really educated. Like you have to have confidence like in what you're talking about, because then like if they're asking, sometimes they're testing you and they're just like asking. And if you come across very like well educated and confident, then they're like, oh, okay, like they do know what they're talking about. They are worth this amount of money. Right. And I think that's hard. Like that's what I struggle with like figuring out my pricing is like, I don't want to come across as like too much, too little. Because if you're too little, you're like, why are they too little? If you're too much, they're like, why are they too much? Then it's like, but it's very like, for me, like I can work with a client for like a year and a half. Like straight. I don't charge like, oh, I'm working like an hour on this. Like we have a, I just like kind of work, but it is like, it's my time. Like if I'm talking to a vendor of yours or if I'm, making one of your timelines and stuff, it's time. So that's what it is. And then day of, it's like it's a 16-hour day that you're there and you're on your feet and it's, a lot. And then, I think you just have to have confidence and again, be educated and stick with your gut with
that was
what you're
something
saying.
that was something that was hard with me in the beginning because I didn't take into those extra hours into consideration, and I didn't take the travel of me. I mean, some events I get there 2 hours before and they're an hour away. So that's 3 hours before I even actually get to the event of that day. And then on the back end too. So I think it's also like, it comes with time almost. I don't think as a new business owner, you're just going to like nail it right away. And that's okay, you know, and it's okay to also increase your prices once you have learned. Like I very quickly realized that my prices were too low in the beginning. I didn't think they were. I thought they were actually pretty good. But I did not put into consideration all of the things that went into it.
Yeah.
But you learn. It's all about learning and then reevaluating your business plan and your motto and things like that.
I feel like I did the same thing. I set my prices like when I first opened my business and was doing free work, and then, you know, somebody handed me a 50 and I was like, okay, I guess I can start charging $50 now, because that's what they, you know, thought that was worth. So for a long time I was just charging like 50, and then I charged 75, and then I charged 100, and, you know, just kept going up. But at the beginning, like I only charged that 50 because that's what I would have paid for it. So like, I feel like, I don't know if that makes sense, but
100%. I'm going to tell you something after.
when you're first getting started, I feel like a lot of people will set their prices to what they feel like they would pay for it and what they can afford. But then once you go full time and this is your thing and you don't have any other income coming in, your prices need to be a livable wage for you and for your business to also grow, because we book weddings and events, you know, a year in advance. And so our prices today, what we're charging people today for a year from now, are going to reflect our skills for a year from now, not our skills today.
100%. So to go off of that, I always joke that I can't afford my services. I always say I am not my own client. And it took a little bit for me to learn that, but that's okay. Like, it's okay not to be your own client, but I'm a luxury service. Like I'm not a luxury, like I can't afford luxury all the time. Like when my husband and I, we don't go to, you know, the Four Seasons, like we go to an average hotel, but that's okay. But you need to find your client that is going to pay that your value and pay for, you know, what you're worth and what you're putting out there. But yeah, I always joke that I cannot afford my own services, but that's okay. I think you just have to find the people who can afford it.
No, I agree. And I think it's also like kind of like what you were saying, like it's okay like to start low and then raise them as you go, because I'm also very like with my clients, it's like it's very customizable. Like not every client is going to need the same exact service as the other person. They might be like, I already have all my vendors, but I need someone to help me with the rest of the stuff. And it's like, okay, then you're not my full plan like package and price. So again, I really base it off of like time, how long, what I need, what you need from me, and then I kind of base it around that. Because like, for example, like I'm not going to the grocery store to get supplies and this that. I'm just, it's my time, and then it's, you know, my travel, and like if you're far away, like, you know, accommodations and stuff like that. It's just very like, but yeah, no, I like that. I think it's stick to your gut. That's always good. All right. Oh, here's a good one. This is where I'm struggling right now, so I would love it. What should you do if you don't have any content to post yet?
Oh, we know how to go there.
I think we talked about this recently. I don't remember what episode that was, but make it, create it, make your own content. If you're just getting started and you want to do, well, I mean, I can talk about myself and what I did. I'm a photographer. So when I first got started, I really wanted to get into, I wanted to do it all really, but I wanted to get into weddings, and I didn't have any experience. I'd never even been to a wedding as a guest. So I was like, how do I get booked if I have literally nothing to show for it? So I bought a $10 ring at Target, and I put together like fake flat lay details. I like made a little invitation on Canva, and, you know, picked some flowers in, you know, I live in like a rural area, so there's like flowers growing on the side of the street everywhere. So I picked some flowers and like made a little thing, you know, took the heels out of my closet and was like, let's go. That. So I just a lot of stuff like that. I did that a couple times. And then I attended some content days and got, you know, got to build my portfolio with actual pictures of people. But before I did that, I was just doing model calls and, you know, putting together my own stuff. So for you, like, I feel like you could do something similar, because a lot of what you're doing, a lot of what you would probably share, I feel like, would be a written message or like something that you talk about. So like you could make a reel of yourself talking and being like, here are my tips for this, and that could be helpful. And that's not something that people need to like see you doing, but like hearing that you are educated and that they can see that you do know what you're talking about. You can post something like that you can create today versus, you know, a behind the scenes video of you like floofing someone's dress, like, which is more valuable. I think the information is more valuable. So I don't know, create your own content. That is my tip.
Yeah, 100%. I did content days when I first started, and I ended up hosting one because I couldn't really find one that I wanted to be a part of. So I hosted one, and Megan was with me, and I found like 3 or 4 other photographers. We had like different setups, which was cool because it all went together as one event, but you could use the content from different like scenes.
Love it.
We had 2 different model couples too, so there was a
Yep.
lot of variety in all of our galleries.
Yeah. So and each photographer gave me different pictures because their editing style was different. So if I were to post any of those different pictures, it almost would look like all different events. So that's great. And then also, I mean, you could set up a table at your house and you know, put a selfie stand up and just get some pictures. Nobody knows that you're not at a venue, that you're not at an event. You know, you kind of have to like fake it till you make it kind of thing. But also get inspiration. I'm a very big, like, I follow a lot of mobile bars all over the world. And I get ideas from them, and I'm like, okay, I could create something similar. And we had a whole episode of copycats. So do not copy someone exactly, but put your own spin on it and put your own like flair, because that's what your customers want to see. They want to see what you're really going to look like at the end. But I love the idea of being knowledgeable, especially as an event planner. I think people want to know that you're the expert and they can rely on you. So like give them reasons on how they can trust you for their day. Or
I think you've been doing the right thing. I've been seeing you posting reels that's like 7 trends that I love, or like timeline advice on that, and I think that's really good. And all of the videos that you've used of you know, ceremony sites that you've been at, and it's just like that with background music and the information. I think you're definitely on the right track with that.
Yeah, that's definitely, infographics have been my best friend like the past couple of weeks. And it's like, I agree. I do have a ton of content, but like I can't use it. It's not like my business's content. It's like previous planners and other stuff like that. So I don't feel right putting their stuff on my page. But yes, if it's just like a stock B-roll of like an outside of a venue or something like that, that's always good. And then,
but I think back to that, like, I think if you're tagging them appropriately, I mean, you were there, you were part of the day.
I know, my boyfriend tells me this all the time. I struggle with that. I'm like, yes, I did it and was a part of it, but like, it's not mine. Does that make sense? Like, I wasn't the lead planner.
Right.
Like for this planner I work with in the city, like, oh my God, her events are incredible. I'm like, I always post stuff on my stories, but I'm like, I don't feel right posting on my feed because it's like, not mine. Even though I tag her, I don't know. I feel weird with that.
I understand that. The etiquette is hard.
But I think, ask her. Just say, does she know that you're starting your business?
Yeah, she knows. Yeah, she's very happy, very supportive.
That's
amazing.
She probably would say
She probably would say yes.
Yeah, I'm always like, I don't know. It's just, I think I'm just like people pleaser almost. Like, and I'm just like, ooh, I don't know if I feel right doing that, because it's like, I don't want to like steal their content to boost my business.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I understand.
Or someone to be like, oh, like, that's beautiful. Like, some people don't read the tags. They're like, oh, you did that? That's gorgeous. Like, oh, you've worked, like, I mean, yes, I have done the table and I've worked at these incredible venues, but, you know, not as under my business. Yeah. If that makes sense.
The etiquette on that is really hard. Yeah. It's a similar thing in the photography industry, because, you know, if I'm the lead shooter and they're my wedding clients, but we need a second photographer on the day and I have somebody come in, it's like, it's like a gray area with people, because I've been a second shooter for some people where they're like, don't tag the venue, don't let the couple follow you, and it's like very specific. Like you know, can't even network your own business. Like if anybody approaches you, you have to say that you're working for me. Like you can't say your own business name. So it is kind of like tricky, because some people will be that territorial and be like, no, this is my work. And then there will be other people that, you know, don't even make you sign a contract that you're second shooting, and will just be like, yeah, come and you know, you can share your photos as long as you tag me. And some people are very cool about it. So, if you're in that situation and, you know, you do have a lot of content to post, but it's not your own,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of photographers, and I'm sure other people who are in a similar boat as you, who have like 5 years experience, like have a
Yeah.
lot of experience,
Mm-hmm.
but like feel like you can't use any of it.
Mm-hmm.
Just ask.
Yeah.
She'll probably say yes.
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
know.
And I've done like, I have been in that situation similar to you. It's like I do independent contracting for a few places, and there's one place that I do for, and they're just like, you need to tag us in every single photo or video
Yeah.
that is taken inside the building. And I'm like, not really, but okay. Like, it's just that, like, I'm always like, then I don't want to post it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
If it's
Yeah.
like that, then I'm like, I have no problem not posting it. So I'm very like, not particular about what I post. I think it's about not stepping on other
Yeah.
toes and being
I see that,
unique
yeah.
and fresh to myself as well. So like I'm starting to like put together a content day, you know, with a few creators, and like kind of being like, I need something that's like not an infographic or not like a reel, but I am open to talking. Like back in the day, I used to have a Bookstagram, and I used to share like all my books nerdy like on camera.
Love it.
And I like can do it, and I'm just like the most awkward being in front of a camera, and I'm like, oh no, but you know, it's still, that's a good idea. I didn't even think of like doing my face
Yeah.
and like talking and stuff.
Yeah. Maybe go through other event planners' social medias and Instagrams and
Yeah.
TikToks, and you know, see
Some inspo.
what reels they're making and posts that they're making that do really well. Like if they have
Yeah.
a reel that has like 100,000 views, don't copy exactly what they're doing,
Yeah.
but be like, why is this one successful? Is it because it's of their face? Because sometimes that's the thing. Or is it because of the music? Sometimes
Yeah.
that's the thing. So do a little research, a little digging to be like, why is this person's, you know, marketing successful, and how can I replicate that and apply it to my own
Yeah,
business?
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, here's another good one. Kind of stems off what we just chatted about.
Okay.
What do you do on days you are feeling unmotivated / lack creative juice? I feel like this is. we all have them.
Maybe I'll let Jen go
Yeah, I
first,
can
because
start.
I experience this a lot and I need help with this. So I don't know if I can answer this.
It's weird. I think social media like does it for me. I think I start scrolling and I start seeing like, I'll just use Mobile Bar as an example. I'll start seeing like a really cool event that they did, and I'm like, I need to get myself back into this. And I also think just like getting in front of my computer, because unless I'm responding to emails, I'm not in front of my computer that much. So I think like getting in front of my computer and just like reminding myself, like, I need to respond to clients. I need to do this and that. And then also using like escapes, like going to a new coffee shop. I feel like I get like good vibes when I go like somewhere different, because I usually work at Starbucks. I actually pay for this place that I haven't been to in so long. I need to cancel my membership. It was like a co-working space. Jeff Works. Have you ever heard of it?
I think I've heard of that. Yeah.
Great, but it was just a little too far for me to go every single day. So I go to Starbucks down the street. And I just think like working outside of your house is really, really motivational. I usually put headphones on and I'll like listen to a podcast while I'm working. Podcast, 100%. Like get a good podcast. Find one. I love Empower Her. But find a good podcast that is going to like speak to you, and you're going to be like, heck yeah, I got this. Like I
Actually,
could do this.
I agree with that. When you asked the question, I was like, I have no idea, but I do that too now that you say that. If I'm feeling good, I like to watch TV. I have like some TV shows that I like to watch, or I put on a movie or something. But if I have a lot of deadlines that I need to hit and I'm like, yikes, I don't know if I'm going to make this. Movies are definitely not the way to go, because I work at like half speed when I'm watching something. So I'll listen to a podcast or listen to music. If I really need to grind, that's what I know that I have to do. Like that's my tool, is like listening to music or listening to a podcast. I still like to, doze off kind of if it's a certain podcast. So like I don't really listen to a lot of like motivational, like go get it kind of podcasts. I listen to like the Gilmore Girls podcast or like the Charmed podcast.
This is where Megan and I are so different. Like I could never listen to those. I need
I love
like someone
those.
yelling in my ear being like, go do this right now. You got this.
Have you seen that Shia LaBeouf video of him with the green screen? I used to listen to that all the time
No.
when
Oh,
I was in
yes.
school.
Yes.
And he's like, just do it.
That's what I need. Like I literally
Yeah.
need someone yelling
Yeah.
at me.
No. Yeah, I used to have a playlist of those when I was in high school. But in terms of the question, I think you said creative right? If you're lacking like creative energy.
Creative juice,
Yeah, I struggle with that because I'll go through a lot of spurts with social media where I'm like very motivated and I have a lot to say and I'm feeling very creative with all my posts and like I have an idea for a reel. And then there's other weeks where I'm like, I can't post anything. I have nothing to say. Like I don't even know what I would post. I have nothing to say. And I haven't learned how to combat that yet. So check back in later.
I think it's also okay to walk away and take a break for a little bit. Like
Yeah.
I love reels. I try to do one every single day, but like this past week I was just so insane. I realized I haven't done one in 4 days, and like that is not like me. Like I usually do a reel every single day.
I know, I see them. They always pop up on my
Thank
feed.
you. But I enjoy them and I like doing them. But I mentally wasn't there for that. And then I posted one yesterday. I was like, oh, I love doing this. Like I reminded myself. But I think it's okay to take a little bit of a break, especially from social media, because I think you can come back refreshed and, you know, get creative in a different way. And, you know, I get my creativity from social media. And I don't know if that's the best thing, but that's where I get mine from.
Yeah.
I think it's okay. I get mine, like, I always I do design as well for clients. So if I'm doing a mood board, like I get in it. Like I am like.
What about Pinterest? Do you use that a lot?
Pinterest is my best friend.
Yeah.
Yes. Just because Pinterest is always easy to pull images from to put in the mood board. And I can easily type like rustic table setting and find like a million. Instagram, that's hard to do, but I can find it. But yes, like I'm always saving stuff on Instagram, or even if like I'm scrolling on a reel and I'm like, ooh, that would be a really good one to do a spin on, like almost like I always have that, but then I'm always saving like, oh, this would be perfect for this person. This would be perfect. Like I am addicted to Instagram in a very unhealthy way. And I'm like constantly scrolling, saving, like, but I'm also like times when I go on Instagram, okay, you're not working. Like you're going to scroll and have fun versus like saving this. And I'm like, sometimes I just go on to like market and like do like pull stuff. But yeah, mood boards, Pinterest is my best friend. Instagram, and then like Google too. Like I'll look at like the Vogue articles and like, you know, Style Me Pretty, Joy, like those like wedding like blog pages I always look at. But yeah, and then that's where I find all my inspo. Yeah, for sure.
I think I gotta figure it out.
I
feel like I'm having a problem.
Like you're not like for example, like Jen, if you're creating like a new cocktail or a new drink like that, or for me like a mood board. But I feel like for you, it's like that's hard. It's like how am I gonna pose them? What type of shots do I want to take? I feel like that you could definitely find on like inspo.
I feel like nature would be good for you. Like you need to go in the nature.
I do. I really do. Yeah. I really do. No, we talked about this I think on the last episode too. We didn't really have a topic. We just were like, let's just chat.
I love
and
that.
One of the things on my mind was like just feeling just less into it and like feeling guilty and like hard on myself about it. But I think that maybe that's a sign of burnout. Maybe I'm like slowly like burning myself out, even though I have the boundaries and I like don't work past this time unless I'm like feeling very motivated about it. But you know, I've recently had some weddings or shoots where like I'm walking into it and it's just like a normal day. And I'm like, I should not be feeling like this right now. Like I should be feeling pumped up. I should be feeling like Shia LaBeouf, and I don't. And I just like, I don't know how to fix that, but I think you're right. I think I need to go outside. I think I need to like turn off my phone, shut down my laptop, like go for a walk and maybe do photography for fun. Like I used to do a lot of hikes when I was first getting into photography and like doing pictures of plants and bugs and like just nature and the outdoors. So maybe I need to do that. Maybe I'm like subconsciously connecting photography with solely work right now and not like with love and enjoyment and like pleasure. And maybe every time I pick it up, I'm like, here we go again. And it's like not like lighting me up as much. I don't know.
Fun fact, I was like a few minutes late today. Well, actually I was on time, but I tried to be a little bit early.
You were good.
But I wasn't. But so Megan lives in Reading and there's a reservoir that I have to pass.
I love it there.
And I kept seeing like these pull-offs and I really wanted to take a picture. So I literally pulled off, took my coffee cup out with my logo. If you go to my Instagram today, you'll see it. And I just took a picture and I like stood there for a second. I was like, oh. And I used to take the kids for walks all the time. And like, we're just so busy right now that we haven't been able to do that. And it's like, they need to do it. I need to do it. And I think it's like okay to like go off of your routine. And I think like that's a
Yeah.
really big way of getting creativity back. It's just like doing something you don't do every single day.
Yep. Maybe we need to add that to our routine.
Yes.
You know, I've been thinking about that a lot too, because one of the podcasts I'm listening to is about Gilmore Girls, and Gilmore Girls to me is like, I mean, every day is, I don't know if you guys or anybody has seen it, but it's about a mom-daughter duo like living in
love
a small
Gilmore
town.
Who has
I'm obsessed.
not
Oh my
seen
gosh.
Gilmore Girls? Come on.
I know. It's from like the 2000s. So if you haven't seen it by now, like
Oh my
what
God,
the
why
heck?
do I
are you
feel
doing?
like that so Why does I just feel so old right then? You said that.
But it reminds me a lot of my childhood, and my childhood felt, because it's a small town in Connecticut, you know, so, but like the whole thing of, you know, going to school every day, going to work every day, going out to eat together, and like doing your thing, and like they have their hobbies, and you know, every day is like feeling a little structured. And I felt like that as a kid. You know, I would go to dance class, and I would go to school from this hour to this hour, and this day to this day. And now that I don't have a schedule. You know, I work on the weekends and then work from home during the days, but like I don't really have, like, on Thursdays I'm here from this time to this time. And maybe that's affecting me more than I think it is. I don't know. Maybe I need to have
Making
a
your
little
own
more.
schedule.
Yeah, maybe I need to do that.
Yeah.
I feel very free not having one. I enjoy not having one. Like I like waking up when I wake up and working when I work, and just like letting things be. But like maybe that's not healthy for me.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not thriving in this.
You
know what
are
I mean?
thriving, girl. I think
You-
you're going through
no,
a
you
little,
are
little
thriving.
hiccup, and you'll get out of it. You need to go into the nature. Go to that
Yeah, you're
reservoir,
right.
park on the
Gotta
side
go
of the
outside.
road. Go take some pictures of the beautiful
Yeah.
water and the trees.
Yeah.
The trees look really good right now.
Yeah. I love it
It's not
there.
fall,
That's my
but-
secret spot. You're giving away my secret spot.
Don't anybody go there.
And I agree with Jen. Like, take a break. Take a break.
Yeah.
Take a step. I know sometimes it's like, yeah, like that's a good question. Like, how do you give yourself the discipline to take a break
Yeah.
and to not open your laptop? Like mine, it's like if I've had an event, I don't open my laptop on Sundays. I don't answer emails. I don't look at
Okay.
anything. Like I will turn off my notifications on Sundays, close the blinds, and I'm like a hermit all day. And that's like what I need to reset, because sometimes like it takes me like 2 days to recover from an event, like physically, like my knees, my ankles, like
Yeah.
I'm almost 30. Like now my like knees hurt when I like walk too long. So it's like, I give myself that discipline, but I also like have that like little nagging guilt in the back of my head of like, well, you really should be working. You should be marketing. You're like, I work 3 different event things right now. I have this business, I had a dependent contract, and then I work for this planner. So I'm like, there is so much going on that I'm like, I need to be working on one of them. But then I'm like, no, take a break. Like, cause
Yeah.
I don't give myself that night discipline. Like I work all day, work all afternoon, and then I work all night.
No,
like until
can't
like
do
1 in the
that.
morning, and then I'll go to
2
bed.
things though. She's growing her business right now.
That's true.
Yeah.
So
That
I
is,
have
yeah,
to
you
say,
can. You can.
we did that when we first started.
Yeah, that's true.
Like
That's true.
I don't think I slept in the beginning, to be honest.
Yeah.
But three seasons in, I've now learned, but it took a while.
Yeah.
And you know, it took me just being so exhausted at night, being like, you know what? I'm not going to do this tonight. I'm going to try to get up early tomorrow, even though
Yeah.
I'm not a morning person, and try to do it before my kids wake up.
Yeah.
But I think there's different seasons, and I think you're in a season right now where you do have to do that if you want to see this business grow.
Yeah. If I
You
want
know?
this to be the full, because
Yeah.
obviously this is the goal, to have this one the full time and not have to, and unfortunately leave the other ones behind. But it's, yeah. And I think it's like, I have to section out my day of like this hour to this hour is this one, this, and this. I mean, thankfully my boyfriend's up late working. Like he's a night owl. I am not a night owl. I am more like, I'll get up early and do it, but I'm turning into one because I'm like, okay, I'll work until like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
just doing, even if it's like, you know, bulk making Instagram posts or like reaching out to vendors or being like, whatever, like I save that stuff for like
Yeah.
nighttime
Yep.
when it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was still working at the Hyatt, doing consulting for Beauty Counter and starting this business, I don't know
That's a
how
lot.
I did it. I mean, the Hyatt was 50 plus hours a week and I was on site. Like I was at the Hyatt 8 to 9 hours a day. And then I was commuting in the morning and night. Like I would be on my lunch break in my car, like making posts for social media for Beauty Counter and trying to, you know, start this mobile bar business that I had no idea what the heck it was because there was not a lot at the time. But I was literally like, I was burning the flame, like literally burning the flame. But I think that was a season that I had to do that. So I think that you just have to realize that it's not always going to be like this. Remind yourself that there's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel, but you need to work to get to that light at the end of the tunnel. And now, like, my business doesn't work itself by any means, but I'm getting leads from Google now, and I'm not doing anything. I'm just now on Google. So I'm getting leads from people who are at events, who a friend told a friend told a friend. Like my client, I always ask where people heard about me. And my client this weekend was like, oh, you were at an event in Trumbull, and my friend was there, and I told him I was doing a surprise party for my wife. He recommended you. I booked you. So like now I'm getting that 3 years later.
Yeah.
So I really think that you have to work your seasons.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
That was a long topic.
That was a
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
We were inspired.
All right. I'll go to another fun question. I feel like we need it. So, a wedding trend you're tired of?
I'll start.
Go ahead.
Champagne toasts. Oh my God. Stop doing them. Please stop doing them.
How do you mean? What do you mean?
Nobody drinks it.
Yeah.
It gets hot before you even drink
Oh,
it.
you mean like with the speeches?
Like
like-
it's
or-
pre-poured before guests come in.
Yeah, which you
It's on
have
the
to
table.
because
Yeah.
you don't, depending on, I mean, I'm obviously using my mobile bar side of it, but first of all, if you're not getting a good bottle of champagne, nobody's do it. Good bottles of champagne are so expensive. If you're buying the alcohol on your own, you're wasting your money. People just drink their drink. First of all, how many people really actually enjoy champagne? Not that many. I mean, unless you're having a mimosa on Sunday morning, but it's just such a waste of money.
Wait, so it's like with the best man speeches? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, like
Okay.
when,
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
when you're doing
everybody has.
See,
like,
that's not something I've ever paid attention to.
and you know what? I don't see it as often. I feel like I had a few this year, but I don't see it as often because like everyone just already has a drink from the bar, and it's
Yep.
like, why do
Yep.
we need to? And no one ever drinks it. So yeah.
It's funny. I'm guilty. I had a champagne toast at my wedding, so I'm literally like the
You
pot
didn't
calling the
know.
bed. Yeah, I didn't know back then, so I'm enlightening all of our new brides. But honestly, it's such a waste of money if you're buying your own booze. It's a waste of time for the catering staff. They could be doing other things at that time. They have to stop and start pouring the champagne, and then unless you pour it like right before the guests walk in, and if the toasts are not the first thing they're doing, it's warm by that
Yeah.
point, especially in a summer wedding. Just stop. Don't
Yeah.
do it. Don't
Yeah.
do it.
I don't
That's
think
my
this
rant.
is really a trend, but one of my photographer friends and I have been resonating with this a lot, but we're just getting kind of tired with like the structure of photography during weddings, like really scheduling time to take photos during your day. We're just getting tired of it. Like, don't schedule time to take the photos. Like, just let us document the day. You know,
I
don't
like
be
that.
like from 10
Interesting.
to 11 we'll be doing pajama photos, and from 11 to 12 we'll be zipping into the dress. Like, don't schedule it. Just let it happen and it'll be there.
So do you think people should say they want pajama photos and then you just do it whenever?
Getting ready from 10 to 12.
Okay, that I agree with. Yeah, she started making me a little anxious, and she was like, "We don't like timelines." I was like, "Oh my god."
No, I love no. I love timelines.
No,
I
yeah.
schedule myself hourly,
No,
and like
yeah.
when I do consults with people, I'm like, so do you want to do a first look? Because that
But not
changes
so
your entire
exact.
day.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Down
not
to
so
the minute,
exact with
yeah.
like, we're gonna do 10 minutes doing a first look with my dad, 10 minutes doing this, 10 minutes doing this, 10 minutes doing this. It's like, if you want a first look with your dad, cool. First look with your fiance, cool. But like, let's just put
Yeah.
that in the hour of getting ready, because you're going to want to do it when you feel like you're ready for it. Like, what if you're not ready in that 10 minutes that we
I like
want
that,
to,
yeah.
that you're saying you want to do it right now? Like, your mind is going to totally change that day. And like, I don't know. I feel like we need to stop being so anal with like scheduling to the exact minute for doing photos. Like, the point of me being there is to document the day and like help you remember it later. Like, I don't know. I'm getting tired of like setting up wedding days for the photos and being like, oh, we'll just do it for the photo. Like, I want the photos to be real. Like, I don't want to take fake photos. I don't know. And that's
Oh no,
what I'm getting tired of.
I like that. I see, like when I make my timelines, I always reach out to a photographer. I'm like, how long do you need for X, Y, and Z?
Yes.
And I'm like, how long do you need for couple portraits, family photos, wedding party, getting ready? Like, and then
Yeah.
I ask them, do you want a first look? It will dictate how long you need to get ready. So, yes, I agree. Like, not down to the minute, but I also like am very big on like every moment needs to be on the timeline.
Yeah.
Because one thing could shift the rest of the day. So if that first look like ran too long or
Yep.
photos ran too long, then there's ceremony's starting late. Then now
Yes.
cocktail is late.
Yes.
And then catering's like, well, we have like caterers run on like a strict schedule because they're food and it's like
Right.
it could get cold, it could this, and they like really appreciate time. But I agree, for definitely like the morning it should be more relaxed,
Yeah.
and all that stuff. But I'm a stickler for like
No.
a
But it's
full
like-
timeline.
Just to like bundle it up. I'm so sorry, but like I definitely agree with like family photos need to start at this time in order to
Yeah.
keep things on track, and
Yeah.
I'm so with you there. But I also feel like
You want
you
it to
get
be
what I'm
natural.
saying.
Yeah, I do.
You know,
Yeah.
like
I
I
agree.
don't know, being like we're gonna do the champagne toast at 4:05. You know, like
No,
let's
yeah.
knock out those things and just let certain things happen. Like certain
Mm-hmm.
things, like for you, I think have it on the timeline
Mm-hmm.
because they want to make sure that everything's captured. And if it's on your timeline, then that's something that they don't have to worry about. Like you
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
know, you're there so that they don't have to worry.
Yeah.
But for I don't know, I hope you guys are getting my gist
Yeah.
because
Wait,
I don't
I'll
know
tell
how
you a
to
funny
explain
story.
it.
So
But
I went to a wedding, and it was one of my friends' weddings, and they put the timeline on the back of the menu card.
Oh no.
You're gonna die, literally from like start to finish. And
no.
the funniest story behind this is the bride was late in the beginning, so it put the whole timeline completely off. First of all, your guests do not ever need to see that, ever, ever, ever,
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
Second, the timeline never really goes by the timeline.
Yeah.
Like you
Fun
are
fact,
going to
timeline always goes out the window. Like,
Oh,
100%.
always
yeah.
goes out the window.
100%.
oh yeah,
You need the structure. You need a timeline. Back to my event planning. I totally agree. You need it. But to your point, like, I think it should be like champagne toast, and you need an average of time because,
Right.
you know, you need something. But I agree down to the detail of like the photos. Like
yeah. Like
I do
don't
agree with that.
I don't like some brides will like have like a very specific like shot list with like
Yeah.
pajama photos. Make sure
Yeah.
you get this photo, this photo, this photo. And I like I will and I want to, and I'm a people pleaser, so like I will do it, but like we don't need to have like the pajama. I don't know. Like
I think
you,
social media
Yeah.
is making this
Yeah.
hard for you.
yeah.
Because you see this like perfect picture of you and your bridesmaid sitting on a bed spraying
Yeah.
a champagne bottle, but really, do you do that normally?
Or like just do it naturally and I'll
You gotta
be
have
there.
fun with
Yeah.
it.
You know,
Yeah.
they don't have to
Yeah.
be like, okay, Megan, are you ready for this photo? Let's do this. You know, I appreciate like people being like asking me if I'm ready, but like just naturally do the champagne pop with your girls. Like, don't be so worried about like, is the lighting
Posing,
good?
yeah.
Do I look okay? Should I take my shoes off? Just like do it how you would want to do it, and I'll be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's hard for some people, like especially
Probably.
brides, because they live in this very like visual sense when it comes
Yeah.
to their wedding of like their mood board and their shot list, and they're pulling these
Yeah.
inspo pictures, and they're like, no, I want this exact shot, and sometimes
Yeah.
you can't get that, and it's not natural.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. All right, well, maybe I'll do my timelines a little differently. Be like,
I don't
this
know.
is this. No, but I think it should be relaxed. Like I
Yeah.
love my timelines to be relaxed and have like natural buffers of like I know that this is going to go over, so
Yeah.
I'm buffering an extra 10 minutes here. But I think if you're saying, okay, like getting ready is from 9 a.m. to 2, like everything in between there is like hair, makeup, getting dressed, first look, whatever. And then I think it's just should be more relaxed.
Yeah, you can have a list of goals, like doing the first look with the dad, first look with fiance, like
Yeah.
doing that all during the getting ready part. But like, if it doesn't happen at like 7:10 and it happens at like 7:20, like
Yeah.
putting an exact time on it is probably just gonna stress out the bride because she'll be always
Yeah.
watching the clock. But like to know that we need to do these 2 things before 10. That's where like you and I would come into play and be
Yeah.
like, are you almost ready for this? We should probably do this.
I'm
soon.
always working with photographers.
know?
Like the bride and groom see the timeline, but like I tell them don't pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Like I will
Yeah.
tell you where and when you need to be. But then I'm also like I'm big on letting the photographer run the show when it comes to the first half of the day. Like up until ceremony, like I let the photographer be like, you pull them for whatever you need. And then like if I'm like, okay, we are running a bit behind, like I will go flag and be like, we're running a little behind. Could we speed it up or could we move some of these to later? But yeah, I'm all about like, because I tell people, if you don't hire a coordinator, like listen to your photographer, listen to their timeline and listen to what they say for the flow of the day because they know, because it'll just be natural that way. Yeah. Okay. All right.
We go on so many tangents.
I love tangents.
We've probably gone through like 4 questions. We might have to have you back to do this again.
Okay. All right. So I'll do a question for Jen and then a question for you.
Okay.
Okay. How do you handle mom life versus work life?
I don't. Full transparency. I'm still figuring it out. I think for me, it's so twofold to this question. One, I think I'm doing such a better job now that I'm an entrepreneur, which sounds crazy because my schedule is so much crazier, but I'm not at work in an office for 8 hours. So I have different types of time with my kids. Mornings are a thing. Like the morning, I don't even touch my phone. Like my phone is still upstairs usually for the mornings, and I make them breakfast. We like have a dance party. Like we just like do our thing in the morning, which is so funny because I'm not a morning person at all. But I've learned that I have my cup of coffee usually before they come downstairs, which most of the time is good. I try to make their lunches, but because they're in camp right now, before they even like come downstairs. So it's like not something that I'm doing that takes away from putting my attention to them. And then the car ride to camp, like I try to continue to like be with them and be present and not really like, you know, start work until after that. Nighttime is just a shit show, like literally once they get back from camp. But I think that that morning is like really my time that I'm learning to like really be present with them as much as we can. We also try to do dinner as a family as much as we can every single night. I think that I didn't really have that as much when I was younger. I was the only child too. So me and my mom, my parents were divorced, but me and my mom kind of like just did our thing, Gilmore Girl style.
Yes.
So I think for me, instilling this like family dinner time has been a really big thing because I want them to, you know, have that for later. Like I want them to come over for family dinner all the time, even when they're older. So I think those 2 time periods, and then everything in between is just figuring it out, literally figuring it out. Weekends I work, so it's like I'm not with them on the weekends really. We also like we travel as much as we can. Travel meaning like driving places. My husband's from Massachusetts. We try to go up there a lot as a family, and you know that 3-hour car ride is like fun. They're not watching their iPads in the car for the most part. You know, we're playing music, and my kids love music. I love music, so we like just try to have that time together. But if I look like I'm put together, I'm not fucking put together. Sorry. That's the first time I ever cursed on here. But I'm not put together at all. Like I am just figuring it out. I watch all these like mom videos and reels, and I'm like, are you really that perfect? Because you're probably not.
No.
Yeah.
So nobody's perfect. I yell at my kids way more often than I want to. So we did a lemonade stand the other day. Did you see that?
I saw that. That was so cute.
Oh my God. It was like, I felt like I was like teaching them entrepreneurship
Oh my
as
God,
like a boss, but we had so much fun. So
They
it's
had
like
their own
finding
little
those.
bar.
Yeah. They used like my water cart that I use and it was actually my 5-year-old son's idea. I was like, there's a little very quick story behind it. He broke his sister's iPad. So I told him that he had to pay it back. And so he had this idea of a lemonade stand. And I was they made $36.
Wow.
And we live on Main Street, so we have like good traffic, but it was just really rewarding. So it's like finding those little things that like you can bond with them in a different way.
Yeah.
Is fun. So that was a
I
long
love
one.
that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Moms are superheroes.
Yeah.
My sister's a mom of 2, and I'm like, she's the best form of birth control.
yes, it is.
Okay, so Megan.
Christina.
Okay, what is an area of photography you want to explore more? Or I'll say an area of your business, because I know there is an area you do want to explore more.
Yes. I'm excited to be exploring video more. I feel like that's probably what you were thinking of.
Yeah.
I've started doing wedding videos, and I enjoy it. I enjoy shooting it more. I don't know if I enjoy editing it more, because the editing process is much, much different than photography. So
Is it longer?
it's longer,
Okay.
and it requires way more thought, which I do enjoy also. But you know, I also like to watch TV and listen to my podcasts, and I can't do that while I'm editing wedding videos, because I have to be fully 100% present. Because it's not just visual work. I have to be able to listen and like build the story. But I do like that part of it also. So there's, you know, positives and negatives, I feel like, to both photography and video, and reasons why I would prefer one over the other. And right now they're kind of neck and neck. But I enjoy shooting videography, like shooting wedding videos, more than photographing them, because kind of like the tangent we just got off of was that I I don't really love the schedule, and I don't really love, you know, like having to be the one to be like, we're doing this now. I like to hang in the background and just like let it happen. So like if I were to work with a coordinator, I'd be like, yeah, you run the show. I would be totally cool with you running the show.
Yeah.
And I'll just be here. And with video, that applies 10 times more than with photography, because the photographer runs the show, if not the coordinator. So with video, you know, other people are making things happen as they happen, setting up poses and like communicating things with family and with the bride and the groom and everything. And as a videographer, you're really documenting more with video than you document with photography, I feel like. So I either need to figure out how to make that happen with my photos more and become truly more of a documentary style photographer and less structured with things, or I should go deeper into video. So yeah, that's an area that I want to explore more in my business.
Love documentary photos and just like candid. I'm all for posed, but you don't look at them as much. You don't look back at like you and everybody just standing there. Maybe a few are always nice if like all your family, if you have like, you know, grandparents you want photos with, but like those moments of like you with your friends laughing like in the corner, like they're just more personal. I like those.
Yeah, I agree.
Ooh, okay. I think I asked this one. Okay. Favorite part about meeting a new client?
I can start. I think so. I usually don't meet my clients till the day of. So it's interesting. There's two folds that I have to like think of. One is where I'm parking this trailer. So I usually Google their house because I want to try to like see their driveway or their backyard or whatever it is. So Google, like Zillow has been my best friend forever with every new client, which is so funny. But I think that my favorite part is just like experiencing what they're going to experience. Like we do a consultation call before, and I usually tell them, or it's usually via email for the most part now, but they get to pick 2 specialty drinks. So it's like interesting to see what they're going to pick. Like I give my recommendations, but then I allow them to pick whatever they think is best. So it's always interesting to see like what they pick from there. And then meeting them day of, like I'm a hugger, so I always like hug my clients, and I'm like, are they a hugger too? Like you just never know. But I mean, if you're hiring a mobile bar, you're probably really cool. So let's call that what it is. You want to have a good time. You want, like, I have clients who don't drink who hire me, and they're like, I just want my guests to have a really good time. Like I don't drink, but I will enjoy a good mocktail from you.
That's cool.
So it's like I feel like 98% of my clients are just awesome. So I'm very lucky to have that. But yeah, it's that like new experience, and I love meeting people. I think my favorite part of this business is not just the client, but meeting all the attendees, because I usually have some type of interaction with every single person at every event. So it's interesting, like, to me and Megan differing, like I love being center of attention. And my last event, my client was like, oh, I wasn't there, and he was like, oh, the trailer was the life of the party. I go, well, we love being the center of attention. And
that's great.
So I think it's just really like experiencing just like new people. And I love meeting people, and I love that I'm constantly meeting new people. What about you?
My favorite part about meeting new clients is just hearing their story. I always set up a Zoom consultation or like FaceTime or phone call or coffee date or something. And I just like hearing about their stories, like how they met, how they got together, you know, how he or she proposed. I don't know. I like hearing about their lives, and it makes me feel a lot more connected into the work that I'm going to be doing, because I'm a storyteller. You know, I'm telling their love story through their photos and their video and with their wedding. That's just like such important background knowledge for me to have. And then when I go to post stuff on Instagram or just, you know, I don't know, it gives like more context into what I'm doing. So like I'll understand the toasts better from the best man or from the dad when they're talking about their history. It's like, oh my God, I knew that. I don't know. I like kind of being a part of it and like hearing what their story is.
Biggest hurdle your business has had since being born?
You want me to start?
Yeah. I don't know.
God, I'm kind of stuck on this one too. I think it's just been, I think the pricing was my first hurdle. I think the pricing, like really like narrowing down what I was going to price myself at. And I think I still don't know. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. It's funny because you always like talk about your competition and their pricing, and we have a mobile bar chat with just Connecticut mobile bars. And yesterday we were talking about all of our pricing. And I think it's important to be equal with your competition, because if you're really high, if they're really low, like it just doesn't make sense for either of you. So I think that's good. So I think pricing was my first hurdle. And I think just like managing, like I now have 2 trailers. So when I had the second trailer come in, I always wanted to grow the business. After my first season, I was like, I know that I want 2 trailers. I know that I want to grow. I just posted about this, but I'm a very firm believer, if I see other people can do it, I can do it too. And I think like that was a huge thing for me, is, you know, learning how to navigate the business where I'm not in full control anymore. I have to let my team bartend. I have to let my team take the reins when I'm not at the events. And it was just really trusting other people that I knew could do it. Like I hired them for a reason. I kept them coming back for a reason, and I needed to trust in that. And I think the third hurdle I'm actually going through right now is finding other ways to have people help me in my business. Like I need to hire a bookkeeper. I need to hire someone to do the finances.
Yeah.
It's not my forte. I actually hate numbers. I like pass math by the skin of my teeth, but it's not my thing. Like I need to find an outlet there, and I need to find like, that's probably my biggest one. And I don't know why I haven't done it yet, but I'm just not there. But I think that's my third one. So it's really like allowing others to help has been a huge, huge hurdle for me.
I'll share 3 too. First one, we touched on a little bit already, was that I'm feeling like a little less connected, and that's a hurdle. Is like, I feel like I'm starting to experience burnout a little bit. So it's, you know, how do I overcome that? And that's something I'm trying to figure out right now. But I think an earlier hurdle that I was trying to jump over was, you know, figuring out how to book myself. Like, how do I actually start my business? How do I get clients? How do I get people to pay me to do what I want to do? How do I get to be where that person's at? And so one thing is like the comparison, like try to stop the comparison and try to look at other people as a way for you to learn from them instead. So following all these photographers, when I, you know, decided I wanted to get going and start my business, instead of like comparing myself and being like, oh, their work is better than mine, I would be like, their work is better than mine. How do I teach myself to do that? Or like, how do I become happier with what I have? Like they're happy with theirs. So I think just absorbing information as much as you can, watch a lot of YouTube videos, follow a lot of people and follow them closely, and be like, how are they on their stories? How do they, you know, talk to themselves? How do they talk to their clients? Like, what do they do? And how can you get to that point too? So I think just, you know, not copying people like we said, but absorbing other people's lives as much as you can so that you can make that your own. And then my third, I think, is thinking about the future of my business. So 3, the past, what I'm going through right now, and then the future.
Oh, look at you.
Thank you. Yeah, the future of my business, because with weddings with all 3 of us, we book out pretty far in advance. I know the first, we're doing this together actually.
I'm so excited.
The first wedding for Wild Lily that you booked is 2024. It's what is it? Not October.
It's August.
August.
For August. Yeah.
I was kind of close. But you know, that's over a year from now. So that's something that I'm not even sure what the future of my personal life is going to look like. I'm 22. You know, I'm not even sure if I want kids. I'm not sure where I want to settle down. I have some ideas and places where like, oh, I'd love to try to live here one day and live here one day. But now that I have this business and I need to, you know, figure out my work plans a year in advance, it makes it kind of hard to figure out what I want for my personal life and for my future. So like if I wanted to start a family, I need to know that before I book out work. So like I've had inquiries come in for 2025 and for Connecticut, and I've unfortunately had to turn them away. And a lot of people do. I mean, a lot of people don't book more than a year in advance, but you know, if I knew I was going to be in Connecticut, I would have booked them and then just, you know, upcharged a little bit to accommodate for the pricing increase that I'll probably have in a year. But instead I had to be like, I'm not sure if I'm going to be living here. I'm sorry to turn you away. Maybe we can check back in with each other in like January if you're still, you know, looking for a photographer. so that's something I'm struggling to figure out right now is like, how do I keep my business growth and keep my business successful and where I want it to be, while also making myself happy? And like, if I want to move, like, how do I navigate
Adapting
like
when
moving in my
life
business?
changes.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
because that's a good point. Like, I had someone inquire for 2026. I'm like,
Wow.
honey, I can't even think about next week.
No.
3
let alone
years?
2026.
Wow.
I was like,
Crazy.
I'm not booking that far out
Yeah.
in advance.
Yeah.
But again, like, yeah, like life could change
Yeah.
very, very quickly. The pandemic showed us all that. Like, it
Mm-hmm.
could take, whatever. And I think, agree, like, when we settle down, like, where am I gonna live? Like,
Yeah.
when am I gonna have kids and all
Yeah.
that stuff? So it's like, it is hard with like us that we book so far out in advance, and then like it's almost like also capping of like, okay, I can't take any more just in case, like,
Right.
something was to change, like, and I need to travel for these events. Like, I can't be like traveling for like 20 weddings, but like, all that stuff. But
Yep.
yeah, I think that is a big hurdle. Yeah. I think
Yeah,
that's tough to
I have
navigate.
a few friends that are moms. One of them, I think has one or two kids. I don't quite remember. We're not super close, but she found out that she was pregnant, and she was like, oh my god, I have weddings like full time, like I'm booked full time, and I'm about to have a baby now. And so she had to get in touch with all of her couples and be like, hey, I'm so sorry, just found out that I'm pregnant and I'm gonna be due like the week before your wedding. And like that's a difficult thing to figure out, because like today, or like when she booked them a year ago, like that was not on her mind, that wasn't her plan, but it happened and she's happy about it. But like, how does she navigate that with her business? That's so tough.
Life happens.
Could you like, I'm just thinking the other side of it, like, because I think the same thing with my business, because I'm like, where is my future going to go with this? Do I want to do this when, my kids are playing sports and I want to see them on weekends and things like that?
Yeah.
But is it something where, if you did want to continue to book, that you could just almost have like 2 second shooters, not second shooters, but
Yeah, they call that
Do you
an,
know what I
an
mean?
associate shooter.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
so you'll have a second shooter is somebody that's like supporting you, and they're not the lead, and they're
Yep.
typically with the groomsmen, and they're getting like the alternate angles, and they're not like the main shot. And then the lead photographer, so that would be this girl. But if she's not able to make it, she's gonna hire an associate to cover it for them. But that kind of, I have that in place in my contract, and I'm sure she does too, that like if we got sick or for whatever reason we couldn't make it, we would find an associate and cover our butts. But the couple is booking her, they're excited to have her and like her style of photos, because you have an editing style, but you also have a shooting style with the settings that you use and the way that you place yourself in relation to your subjects. So there's a lot of personal touches that go into the way that you shoot, as well as the way that you edit. So they were counting on having her, and they fell in love with her as a photographer. And now for her to be like, hey, I'm so sorry, I know that you booked me and you paid me and you're contracted with me, but also in my contract I said I don't have to be there, so I'm sorry to play like hardball, but it just kind of like lets them down. And is probably not, if they were counting on her and really happy for her, they might, she has really tough clients too, so I don't know if that's just like her experience, but
Yeah, that's funny you say that.
Yeah.
I was going through this with a client. I have 3 clients who are using the same vendor, and this vendor has backed out, and their wedding is in 3 months. And they had found, again, this is who will be covering for me. And these clients were like, absolutely not. Like, that is not who I would have chosen as my, vendor for this particular part of my wedding. And I'm like, you are totally valid, like, for that. And then it ended up being like we had to scramble and find another one who was thankfully available. But again, it's very like, that's hard. Like, for me, I don't have anybody to fill in for me if I'm not there. And I think it's also like, that's important, that like to communicate to your clients, because for example, with this particular vendor, it was never communicated that like, this is who would be filling in if they couldn't do it. I think that's important to do. Like if you're like, look, if I can't fill in, this is who will be filling in for me. And then like, they could look at their work and be like that and be like, okay, that like, God forbid, it probably rarely ever happens, but like life does happen and things do happen. So like, God forbid, like, for example, like Jen, like you have another bartender. So you could be like, if I'm not there, this person will be there. And it's almost like, okay, like I understand now that like I'm comfortable with like plan B. But yeah, I think that's funny. You said that
I
'cause it
think
just made me
mine's a
think
little
of it.
different because I don't think my clients, I mean, some do. Some definitely think I'm going to be there. But I think that now they don't always think I'm going to be there. Probably because they've seen 2 trailers and they're like, well, she has 2. One of my other clients, she really wanted me there. It was a repeat client.
Yeah.
And I was like, I actually don't work events anymore. And that's going to happen in the future. I happen to be working another one that day, but I mean, that's definitely going to happen. Like that is my long-term goal of this business, to not be at the events, like just to drop off and pick up. So, and like set it up as needed.
Right.
Is that hard for you to
So
do?
hard.
Because
So hard.
I'm doing that now with the planner that I work with. Like, she's doing that where she's not there day up. I am. And I was like, I don't know if I could almost do that. It's like giving them like your baby.
I'm
like
with you too on that.
I don't know if I could do that. Like that you're like, I couldn't imagine myself not working events and just
So,
running the business.
There's 2 things to that. One, 100%. I'm such a micromanager, which I never thought I was going to be because I hated my bosses who did that to me. So I even text the girls and I'm like, hey, can you send me some pictures? Like, I want to see the setup. I want to do this. Like, how's everything going? And at that point, they're working. Like, I should not be texting them. But this is where you learn, if you want your business to grow, you have to do the stuff like that. I could never do 2 events, but also you have to put your trust in your staff. And if you're training them properly, they know how you like your business to run, your business is going to run with them.
Yeah.
So it's really just like having the faith in other people, which is literally the hardest thing. Like that's the hurdle that I'm still challenged with today is not only like not being at the event, but also like trusting someone else to be able to do it. But I took them out for drinks one day and I was like, I just want to thank you guys. And they were like, we want to make you proud. Like, we love working for you.
Yeah.
We want to see you succeed. We want to be able to like help you with that. And I was like, oh,
That's how you know
Yeah.
that they're
That's
the
how you know
right
you have a
ones.
good,
Yeah.
you can trust them with
but
everything.
it all comes with learning, and it comes, you know, and I'm lucky that I found amazing people. I'm lucky I have a great staff, but yeah, it's really, really hard.
Yeah. I feel like it's like hard because like one of my huge things is like client relationships. Like when you're booking me, like you're getting a best friend for the next year. Like that is how it is. So it's like, I couldn't imagine like not being there, but being there for the whole year, but then day of not being there. It's almost like, it's like graduation day. Like I gotta be there to like cheer them on, like see them and like, I want to see them on their wedding day, you know,
I
go
feel
be happy.
that. I feel
Yeah.
that.
I think your industry is a little different.
It is very different.
You
Yeah.
are building a different
yeah.
type of relationship. And I
Yeah.
think Megan's too, but I do see how Megan's could run without her in a way.
Yes, you could do another
Yeah,
shooter.
a lot of photographers have associate shooters not as like a backup option, but just because.
Because you're
And
double
I've-
booked. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've worked for other people that way too, where they're doing a wedding and they have an associate shooter doing one wedding and I'm doing another one, and so they have 3 weddings going on at one time. And
Yeah.
she's not at
Yeah.
the other 2. But I agree with you. Like, I don't know if I could do that with my business. I don't
Because it's like,
personally want to do that because,
Yeah.
like I said, there's so many personal touches in the photography because it's an art, and like you're booking somebody to make art of your wedding day, and I don't know.
but
like,
it also comes down, I think,
know.
to the point of like, from a, like you wear like your vendor face, but then like your business hat. And it's like, am I going to turn down 3 weddings in one weekend of like that cash, like, you know, that cash out of like 3 weddings, but also like, what's more important to me, that or like being present for one of them because of the client relationship and all that stuff.
I
So-
also think like I do know another event planner who she's now set up her business and has a team. So I think if she's already booked and she's booking a second event, she's introducing her head planner with that couple. It's not her anymore. Like she's still obviously, I'm sure, doing a lot of the work and doing a lot of things, but at that point she's introducing the second event
that's
planner
kind of
and going
theirs.
from there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's really how you want to run your business. Like I could have totally stayed with one trailer, done what I did, you know, but then I'm not growing. So it's just, it's where you see your business going and how you want it to go.
That's a tough
yeah,
one.
this is so interesting because I have so many other ideas too, but I need to figure out my personal life too. Like if I decide to move to Alaska, like this is what I would want to do for my business. If I decide to move here, this is what I would want to do for my business. If I'm going to stay in Connecticut, like these are different ideas in ways that I can grow. And it's just like, I don't know which thing I'm going to be doing. And so it's
And
like,
I think
how
that
do
plays
I
a role too
figure it
in
out?
like your life decisions of like, because I know my boyfriend and I always talk about not living in Connecticut or New York when we get married and have a house, but it's like, I also don't want to be like in the middle of nowhere. Weddings are not a thing. Like weddings are huge in this part, I know,
Yeah.
but they're not necessarily big and like, you know, where you want a lot of land in a very rural area.
Right.
But it's like, yeah, so I think that also needs to play a role in your
Yep.
decisions.
Yeah.
But also like, I think that is hard to like
It's
go down the middle
hard.
of like, am I doing it for myself or am I doing it for my business?
Yeah.
Which is like,
And you're
insane.
exactly spot on with like what I was struggling with. Like you understood what I was saying, like exactly. But like if I
Do
move to
you-
Alaska, like there's less people in Alaska than in
Yeah.
Fairfield County.
yeah.
There's
You could get
Not a lot of
beautiful
clientele.
nature shots in Alaska,
Right.
but not necessarily
so it's like
weddings.
how could I be creative with my business
Yeah.
to still capture weddings, but in a place that I like? So probably a lot of elopements, a lot of destination weddings, putting
Yeah.
together some kind of
Yeah.
package for people that are traveling is probably what
Yeah.
I would do. Like work buddy
Yeah.
buddy with a coordinator planner to
Yeah.
like make a vacation out of it is probably what I would do. But
Yeah.
like if I'm gonna live here, that doesn't apply. There's
Yeah.
no need for that. I wouldn't do that here.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna be your therapist for a second.
Okay.
Do you think that's why you're having these like hurdles right now because you don't know where you're?
Yes. I need to know.
Like, yeah.
But we don't know.
But I don't know, and
Yeah.
I don't have it figured
Yeah.
out.
But I think that's okay. Like you're going through the motions right now. Like you didn't have it figured out when you started.
Yeah.
But you figured it out. You got it. But now, I feel like you're in this like height. And again, I'm speaking for you.
Be my therapist.
I'm being your therapist.
Come on, read
but
my
I feel
mind.
because I was in this too. Like with the first trailer, like I feel like I did not perfect it, but I feel like I perfected it to where I wanted it. And then it needed to grow. So I got a second trailer. Now I'm figuring out the second trailer. So like I'm in a weird hiatus of like figuring all that out. But I'm not thinking where like I have a house. I have two kids. Like
Yep.
they're starting school. Like we're not going anywhere right now. So my thoughts of the future are different. Mine are, okay, can I run a business on weekends when my kids get a little bit older? Like those are my thoughts. Your thought is, am I moving to Alaska? Like,
Yeah.
so I think that that's probably why
Yeah.
you're having these other challenges in your business of like feeling like not as creative because you have so much going on in your brain. Like in 2025, where am I going to live?
Yeah.
You know?
Mhm. Yeah.
So I think but it's all
Yeah.
comes with time. Like,
Yeah.
Life's ever changing. Tomorrow it could all be gone. So
Yeah.
like you really just have to. I'm big on planning ahead. I need to know what I'm doing 4 weeks from now, but
Yeah. Yeah.
you can't plan that far ahead. You got to just roll. I couldn't. Let me tell you, if I talked to Christina from 2021, I would have laughed. Like I would have never pictured, you know, meeting the man of my dreams, you know, getting our first apartment together, doing what I want to do as my career, because it was always like I never knew what I wanted to do and I was stuck for the longest time. And then, you know, it all just,
Yeah.
you never know. Never know. And
I
I'm
love
always
that.
big on that. Yeah. I always like say if I could talk to past me, I would laugh and be like, you got everything like
Yeah.
you wanted. It just
Yeah.
all fell into place. You just have to trust it'll happen.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's good advice. I needed to
That
hear
is
that.
good.
Yeah, I
We're
forget
always
that
here for
sometimes.
therapy sessions.
Do we have one more? Are we concluding here?
I don't. Do you want to do one more?
Yeah, let's do one
It's
more.
Okay.
up to you guys.
Yeah, last
Yeah.
one. This is a longer one.
Yeah,
but
one last
that's
quick one.
okay.
This is gonna be like an hour and a half episode.
I love it. How do you organize your work? So like what, I know a lot of you guys use Honeybook and all that stuff, but like how do you stay organized when you have a full pack season?
To-do lists. I have a like a physical planner that goes like day by day and month by month. And so every night before I go to bed or at the end of my workday, whatever, I'll like write down my to-do list for tomorrow. So I'll go through my editing queue based on like when their due dates are and like line it up in order of you know, that I need to edit them in. And now that's getting a little bit trickier with video because they have different deadlines. I do wedding galleries like photos in 4 weeks and then the videos in 8 weeks. So my editing list like is a little weird now, I'm experiencing, because the videos, like I'm not editing in the order that they're happening now. I'm editing them in the order that the deadlines are. So it's kind of weird, but moral of the story is I have a to-do list and I go through that, and then when my next day starts, you know, I go through the list and I start with emails, go through Honeybook, usually go on social media for like an hour, like checking out TikTok and Instagram, and maybe post something on Pinterest if I'm feeling snazzy, and then, you know, edit. And I try not to work past 6. and like shut things down. But if I'm, if I have plans in the morning, we're doing the podcast or something, like sometimes I'll work a little later. But that's how I stay organized, is like writing things down. And I know that your answer's going to be very different. Don't laugh.
I love how Megan jumped on this question. She's like, I'll go first.
She's like,
because
I'm organized.
I did not get excited for this question because I am literally the most unorganized person you will ever meet, by far. And I'm okay with it. Like, I just figure it out. Like, it's funny. I'm not like a hippie, like, I got this person, but I'm just like, it'll all work out in the end. Like, I'm a firm believer of, you can stress yourself out so much, which I think you need to. Sometimes you have to stress yourself out. Like, I stress myself out before every single event because I'm like, am I organized? Do I have this? Do I have this? And then the event's fine. And even if you mess something up, nobody knows it but you. But I stay organized with HoneyBook. Is honestly the number one thing that organizes me. It's really the only thing I use, obviously, besides email, but my HoneyBook is now like basically my email. It's funny, sometimes I actually forget to go into my email because
I do that all the time. Oh my God.
I'm just on HoneyBook all the time.
Yeah.
But I also do a lot of unread messages. So like, not so much clients texting me, but like even just like life in general. Like if someone sends me a text message, I'm like, I can't open this until I'm ready. However, did you recently do an upgrade on your phone where you can unread a text now?
Wait, you can do that?
Yes.
I need that
I
in
need
my
to
life.
do
I'm
that
so
too.
bad
I
at opening
literally like
things right
wanted to call Apple and be like, can you fix this? Because how are you not up to date on this yet?
Yeah.
It randomly,
that's
like,
great.
I like held it down the other day and it said mark unread. I was like, stop it.
I need that
So
in my
that's,
life.
yeah. So if I have like in my inbox, like I'm a folder person in my email if I ever do go to it. So like I'll drag everything like into the folders that it needs to go in if I've done it. If it's not, it's in my inbox. But I'm not that person that has like 100,000 emails in their inbox. Like my inbox, if it has like 200, I have like anxiety because it means I have a lot to do.
My email is filled with spam. I dread I hate emails, honestly.
Yeah.
I love HoneyBook though.
Yeah.
So 25% off discount code in the caption below. But no, I truly do like HoneyBook.
Yeah.
I want us to get sponsored, so I don't want to talk negatively about it, but unfortunately they have been having a lot of problems with like not delivering messages or like the read count on messages from clients like is sometimes incorrect and things like that. But I don't think personally I've experienced any issues, knock on wood. So I think they are fixing them and it will be good. But
Yeah.
I have not really had bad experiences with HoneyBook. I love it. It keeps me organized. And yeah, you can search for somebody's name and like your thread of emails are right there with all of the documents you've sent them. And I love HoneyBook. But my email, like I have so much spam, like I'll sign up for stuff like QR code generators and like just they won't stop emailing me. And I get emails every day and
I
every day
make
and every day.
a separate email.
Yeah.
for that
Start
stuff.
doing that on like, I actually do that on my personal, which is
Yeah.
even worse because now I like cringe at my personal email. I think I have like 2,000 emails in my personal. And I'm like, at one point I just went in and deleted everything. I didn't even look at them. And like I get stuff from my kids' school and camp and stuff. I'm like, Jen, you need to be smarter. But yeah, I mean, I feel like everyone just has their own way to organize themselves.
Yeah.
And whatever way works for you, like do that. But yeah, I'm a big unread person.
Yeah, there's no right or wrong way to do anything. So
Just as long as it all gets done.
Yeah.
Yep.
It
as
works
long as-
itself
And if
out.
not, your
Yeah.
client will email you like, hey, remember you were supposed to send me this.
Yeah, I get clients
Yeah.
all the time be like, oh, like, remember we talked about this? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Like,
You're like, I
yeah,
have no
absolutely.
clue.
And I'm like, oh, God.
I know.
Yeah, there's, I'll admit, things slip through the cracks when there's a
Yeah.
lot of clients, like, especially like a lot of different vendors to email, like
Yeah.
from my thing, I'm like, did I even send them this? Did I do this? But I'm like,
Oh my God. I do that all the time where I'll like do something in my head and forget
Yes.
that I haven't done it
yes.
in real life.
I'm like, didn't I tell you this in my, I tell this to my boyfriend all the time. I'm like, I told you this in my head. So like, you should have already heard it. So like, I'm like the same
should have
way.
read my mind.
Yeah, you should have read my mind. This is how it happens. Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if this would work for you, but back when I was in corporate, we had folders, like old school folders. Like we would print out all the documents. And I know technology is much different
Yeah.
now, but I have to say, like, that did work when I had so many multiple like vendors involved and clients. And, you know, now I have a lot of clients, but nowhere near as many as I had back in corporate. But I feel like that for me was like a really good way to be organized.
I'm like that day of. Like I will
Yeah.
print out everything. And I will have backups on my phone. But it's like I am all about writing it down. I write everything down. But I'm also been getting really into like digitally organizing everything. Like everybody has a color. Like everyone's color coded. Like I use Asana, I use HoneyBook, and I use like Canva for all my design stuff. So like everybody gets a folder and everyone gets like a color. So
What's
like
the first one? That you
what's
said?
Asana,
what's that?
it's like it's similar to like Monday. I don't know if you've heard that. It's just like a project manager.
Okay.
So I have on my Asana, I have my calendar and my to-dos are in different colors. So like, you know, Megan and Jen get this color. Like it just helps me like visually. Because I'm like, okay, I know I'm meeting with this client this week. So, like, it should be green everywhere because that's their color. And I should be working on their stuff when, like, someone else, like, I don't have to. I also struggle with that, too, like, prioritizing. Because I don't have a boss always being like, this is due date. Like, this is due date. I'm very, like, with all of my jobs, I'm very, like, make my own schedule and, like, kind of do it. But it's like, I'm not dealing with this person until like 2 weeks. I shouldn't think about them right now. Like I need to focus on like this client. That helps me. Like Asana helps me so much just putting my to-dos. It's basically like an electronic to-do list.
Okay.
And then
I should look into that. I like that.
Honeybook has been like amazing. I'm having so much fun with Honeybook. Like that's like when I heard you guys talking about it on like the earlier podcast, I was like, oh yeah, like I definitely know I want to do that. And it's been like a lifesaver. And then just like physically writing things down, like keeping things in my phone of like certain things. I have like a million lists. I don't know how I stay this organized, but it works. I'm like a mixture of the both of you. I like love my list, but I'm also like can be very unorganized at the same time. I probably should be more organized, but yeah.
See, I feel like if I had a bunch of lists, like if I write something down, I do remember it more. Not gonna lie. Like the day before the events, I am writing things on like a dry erase calendar.
Oh, that's cute. I love that.
Because I don't need it after that.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no reason that I need to know that I need to go shop for extra limes. Like, I don't need to know stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, like, for me, the dry erase board actually works really well. But, yeah, if I'm just, this works.
Yeah. Hey, it works different for everybody. We're all making it up as we go.
Everybody's different. Well, thank you so much, Christina, for coming on.
So much fun.
Thank
I want to
you.
come back again.
Yes, we definitely should do this again. This was fun.
We have a lot more questions, and I'm sure everybody will probably be giving us more along the way too. So maybe we'll wait a few weeks, put out another poll, see if we get any new questions after people have seen this and some have been answered. And 25% off Honeybook with the code in the description. And we appreciate your time. And
Thank you. I had so much fun.
Wishing you luck.
Yes, good luck on your new adventure.
I'm having so much fun with it. Like
Good.
I really am. And
Good.
I'm just like loving it every day. So
Ah, good.
Yeah.
Yay.
That's exciting.
Well, cheers.
Cheers.
cheers.